Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you happen to be in the world attending this fantastic event put together by the team at Qball. And I thank them for the opportunity to present to each of you today. My name is Chris Casey, and I look after business development for AWS Data Exchange globally. AWS Data Exchange is a new AWS service we launched in November of 2019 that's specifically designed to help AWS customers find, subscribe to, and use third-party data in the cloud. I'm truly humbled to be able to speak to each of you for the next 30 minutes about some of the innovations our customers have been working on over the past few months as it relates to their cloud-native data lakes, and specifically how some of them have been able to use third-party data in combination with those data lakes and their analytics tools to help them in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, before we get into some of the details, I'd like to ask each of you a rhetorical question. When your organization is looking to onboard a new data source, does that spin up a new project, or is that considered business as usual? Because some of our customers have told us that they believe onboarding a new data source or adding new third-party data to your data lake should be considered business as usual in today's data-driven environment. And that task shouldn't require teams of people scurrying around to find a new data source and ultimately onboard that data source. In today's data-driven world, speed to insights is crucial, and in many cases, it's considered a true competitive advantage. At AWS, you'll find a common thread in the mission for most of our analytics services, like AWS Data Exchange. That mission typically includes the premise that AWS is aiming to remove as much of the undifferentiated heavy lifting as we can to reduce the time it takes our customers to derive value from data. Because, after all, deriving value from data is often the whole premise as to why a company is doing the work to stand up a data lake in the first place. For a financial services institution that depends on data for their trading business, or maybe a new startup who was born in the cloud, who uses data for their applications, many of those companies consider finding and ingesting new third-party data business as usual. But even for those, it can still take them 3 to 5 developer months to source, ingest, and prep the data to be ready for use in production. And in other cases, which I'll expand on shortly, the ability to move quickly to source and ingest data into a data lake has had meaningful impact in the response that some companies have been able to experience related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me give you a little background on how the AWS COVID-19 data lake came to be and how AWS Data Exchange providers played a key role in providing rapid access to COVID-19 related data to populate this data lake. As part of our mission, in late February of 2020, AWS Data Exchange began working with our customers to source third-party data to help academics, researchers, and the healthcare community triage COVID-19 related issues. We worked with organizations who make COVID-19 related data available from various sources, such as public records, foot traffic, business visitation patterns, and economic activity. Today, we have more than 150 COVID-19 related data products on AWS Data Exchange. And those data products span a very wide variety of data types. Some of those include COVID-19 case projection data in the US, Europe, Latin America, from the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. We also have aggregated and anonymized healthcare claims utilization data covering hundreds of thousands of COVID-19 patients across the US, provided by Change Healthcare. Dynamic measurements of consumer commercial shopping behavior and visits to businesses by industry from providers like Ninth Decimal that measure the pace of economic recovery in each market relative to pre-COVID-19 consumer levels. Index foot traffic from more than 19 categories of venues, and this data is broken out geographically with data from at a national level in the US and also from major cities like San Francisco, New York City, LA, and Seattle from Foursquare. We have daily US and global COVID-19 case, death, and testing data provided at a country, US state, and US county level from Enigma. And finally, there's workforce population data from ADP, which tracks the impact of COVID-19 on industries and companies of different sizes, especially small businesses, on a monthly basis. These data sets, along with many others, are available for free for AWS customers to use to assist them in their ongoing response to the COVID-19 pandemic. As COVID-19 continued to upend our lives earlier in 2020, people in every sector and country turned to data to stay informed, to share information, and to respond with confidence. At AWS, we believed the one way we could help was to provide experts with the data and tools they needed to better understand, track, plan for, contain, and hopefully neutralize COVID-19. The AWS Data Lake team quickly established a public data lake of data on or related to the spread and characteristics of COVID-19 on April 8th, 2020, leveraging data from data providers who'd already listed this data on the AWS Data Exchange. With the support of category-leading providers on AWS, our COVID-19 data lake was populated quickly and seamlessly with data from 9 different data sources, including Tableau, Enigma, and Rearc, through a single AWS Data Exchange API. Today, any AWS customer can continue to work with the AWS COVID-19 public data lake to blend the data in that data lake with their own data, or subscribe to the underlying source data sets directly through AWS Data Exchange. Why is this important to this audience today? As data lake professionals, I know that you know that having access to timely and relevant third-party data, along with your first-party data, is crucial for you to be successful in driving decision-makings in your organization. The breakthroughs that can win the battle against this disease will arrive faster when it's easier for everyone to access and experiment with vital information. The AWS COVID-19 data lake currently allows experimenters to quickly run analysis on the data in place without wasting time extracting and wrangling data from all of the available data sources. They can use AWS or third-party tools like Qubel to perform trend analysis, do keyword searches, perform question and answer analysis, build and run machine learning models, or run custom analysis to meet the specific needs of their organizations. I also wanted to take the opportunity to expand on some of the specific innovations that some of our customers have been able to achieve as it relates to their responses to COVID-19. Firstly, I wanted to talk to you today about Zuckerberg Biohub. They were able to combine COVID-19 data from the AWS data lake with their first-party data to help them in their predictive models to predict COVID-19 epidemiology. The University of Texas in Austin, which has more than 2,500 students and more than 70 faculty staff, are developing a virus navigation app using free data from Xmode via AWS Data Exchange. These professionals are using this data to develop an app that will allow its users to avoid hotspots and be made aware if they've been exposed to COVID-19. And the app is currently under development and entering into its prototyping phase. In addition to these, other academic medical researchers have been able to build predictive models using the data lakes to determine the risk of COVID-19 patients needing intensive care treatment, including the use of ventilators. They've also been able to do comparative analysis on medications that might have a positive impact on COVID-19 patient recovery, And they've been able to assess the impact of medical care that has been deferred because of the pandemic. For example, are cancer patient outcomes going to be worsened due to them having to take deferred care on things like chemotherapy? But it's not just universities and research centers that have been able to leverage data from AWS Data Exchange in their data and analytics workloads. A global consumer packaged goods company is leveraging data from AWS Data Exchange to better estimate demand across their retail partners, and COVID-19 cases data to improve their predictive models around employee, plant, and inventory risk. A global hotel and hospitality chain is leveraging COVID-19 reopenings and closures data, as well as case projection data from AWS Data Exchange to inform their COVID-19 response and reopening efforts. And finally, pharmaceutical companies have been able to use data from AWS Data Exchange to accelerate vaccine trials, including where they should be thinking about conducting their phase 2 and phase 3 trials under the backdrop of where those cases might be based on their predictive models. Now that I've set the stage for how AWS Data Exchange has helped some of our customers quickly gather meaningful data from multiple providers through a single API as it relates to their COVID-19 response, let me step back and give you a little bit more of a broader overview of the service and why it was originally built. It should come as no surprise to anyone attending this conference today that more developers, enterprises, and researchers who rely on data lakes are using more data from more sources to make better business decisions. And I think everyone agrees that we all want to make data-driven decision-making easier and derive value from data much faster than we've ever been able to do in the past. Customers have told us that they want the experience of finding and using data on the cloud, where more and more of it is being generated and stored today, to be as easy as it is to shop online today. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for how data is exchanged between organizations. First, there is no one place to go to find diverse data across industries, themes, or verticals. You may know some of the players in the industry you're in. For example, if you're in financial services, you know that you can get market data from the exchanges, analyst ratings from the agencies, and news information from firms like Reuters or Dow Jones. But as soon as you're asked to, or you want to do an analysis joining that data with satellite imagery showing parking lot traffic, or location data showing how many people pass a certain storefront on a given day at a given time, or aggregated consumer transaction data to understand macro spending habits across a community, you're out of luck because there's no one place to go to find all of those different data sources. And despite the fact that more and more organizations are generating so much interesting and valuable data in the cloud, there hasn't been an easy way to let the world know it's available. Nor has there been an easy way to deliver that data to potential customers at scale. And even if you did find the data that you need from a data provider who you know wants to license it to you, you may spend weeks building bespoke IT capabilities to integrate the data into your data lake, because every data provider does it just a little bit differently. We have customers that have told us they are still shipping physical media to each other, managing dozens or even hundreds of different FTP credentials, many of which come with their own security and reliability challenges. And even APIs, which many think is the modern way of transferring data, require the receiver or subscriber of that data to understand and manage the nuances of each different API credential and endpoints, and then merge all that together just to get the data into their data lake, ready to be consumed and analyzed. Ironically, providers of data have the same challenges, just in reverse. All of the plumbing that they need to build and maintain to serve their customers, storing the data, delivering it through various channels, billing for it, isn't really a competitive differentiator. It's the cost of doing business. And many providers who do this today have asked us to help them with a more efficient way to serve their customers at scale. Worst of all, many of these barriers I just talked about prevent organizations that have valuable data to share from making it available to others, especially if providing data isn't already part of their core business. This, of course, leaves those of us who could benefit from the data frustrated that it isn't available. So after hearing many of these frustrations from hundreds of customers over the last several years, we launched AWS Data Exchange. Any AWS customer can use AWS Data Exchange today to find more than 2,500 data products that are currently available on the service. And our team is continuing to iterate with data providers to add more and more sources as we iterate with those customers to make their data available for you to use in your data lake. Once you're subscribed to a data product, you're able to trigger notifications via CloudWatch that make it really easy for you to make sure that your data lake is running off the absolute latest and greatest data from any of your third-party data sources. All of this is done in a way that's consistent with what our customers have come to expect out of an AWS service. The AWS Data Exchange catalog of 2,500 products today is globally available to any AWS customer in any region. There is an easy-to-use API and console experience, and customers who are automating the ingestion of data they subscribe to can easily use it in other AWS analytics services or third-party solutions like Qball. Here's a quick visual to help you better understand how sourcing and ingesting data from AWS Data Exchange, along with the data coming from other sources, can seamlessly populate your data lake environment with Qball. As you can see from this diagram, Data Exchange gives you a single data ingestion mechanism to feed data into your data lake or cloud data warehouse running on AWS. And then you can leverage all of the capabilities Qball has to offer to make use of that data within your organization. At the end of September this year, we launched a brand new capability to make your end users' experience finding third-party data and software even more seamless. And that capability is called the Aws Marketplace Discovery Api. This API allows approved AWS partners to surface products from the AWS Marketplace, including data products from the AWS Data Exchange, natively in their applications. The AWS Marketplace Discovery API unlocks the ability for users of your tools to seamlessly browse third-party data available on AWS Data Exchange without those users having to leave your application or console experience. This capability will make it even easier for users of your tools to find third-party data natively in any of your applications and data lakes with just a few clicks of a mouse. In this session, we've covered the importance of having quick and seamless access to discover and activate third-party data, especially when unplanned or fast-changing events unfold and require different inputs to forecast and adjust your business strategy. I encourage each of you to consider the importance of having seamless access to third-party data in your data lake environment. In today's data-driven world, speed to insights is critical, and in many cases, a true competitive advantage for organizations. I'll leave you with two additional rhetorical questions. Is the speed at which your organization can derive value from new third-party data sources today a competitive advantage for you? And if your answer to that question was no, what would it mean for your organization if you could unlock that and make the ability to derive value from third-party data a competitive advantage? I'd invite each of you to visit the AWS Data Exchange website to learn more about the service. And there you can also learn a lot more about AWS's suite of analytics services that might be able to help you lead change within your organization and shift the onboarding of new third-party data from a new project to a seamless business as usual activity. Thank you once again to the team at Qbol for the opportunity to speak with you all today. I hope you enjoyed this session. Stay safe and healthy, and enjoy your time at the rest of the Data Lake Summit. Thank you very much.